Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of John. We're in John chapter 1. Today we're starting to read at verse 46. Now, the last few days we've been looking at these first two disciples of Jesus that John mentions. They had been disciples of John the Baptist, but when he said, "Look at Jesus, he's the Lamb of God," they began to follow him. Now, the two are Andrew and Philip. We started looking at Philip yesterday, and when he realizes who Jesus is, he goes to his friend Nathanael and says, "We found the one Moses wrote about, the one the prophets wrote about. He's Jesus of Nazareth." Now, at first, Nathanael is skeptical. Notice how Nathanael first responds to this news that Philip brings him that Jesus of Nazareth is the Messiah. We're at verse 46. Nathanael says, "Nazareth? Can anything good come from there?" "Come and see," said Philip. Now, when Jesus saw Nathanael approaching, Jesus said of him, "Here truly is an Israelite in whom there is no deceit." "How do you know me?" Nathanael asked. Jesus answered, "I saw you while you were still under the fig tree before Philip called you." Then Nathanael declared, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel." Now notice Nathanael's initial skepticism. It's about Nazareth. He said, "You found the Messiah and he comes from Nazareth? How is that possible?" You say, "What else is the response?" Well, you have to keep in mind that in this day and age, Nazareth was a very small and a very insignificant village. And obviously, Nathanael looked upon the people there as, he looked upon them as inferior, coming from a rather rustic place, uneducated people. He just didn't think it was possible that the Messiah could come from a backwards place like village. There's a little bit of prejudice here toward the village of Nazareth, but Nathanael has, "How can anything good come from Nazareth?" Well, Philip doesn't try to argue with him. He just says, "Listen, why don't you come and see?" And there's an important point there about witnessing to Jesus. Our rational arguments won't convince many people if they don't believe. If somebody doesn't believe in Jesus, we won't be able to reason them into it by our profound arguments. No, just invite them to come and see. Just come and see Jesus. Come and look at him. Take a moment, lay aside your prejudice, just come and see. Because you see, when they encounter Jesus, he is the one that makes the difference. Philip didn't try to argue Nathanael out of his skepticism. He just said, "Why don't you come and see?" And so he brings Nathanael to Jesus. Now Jesus immediately says, "I know you. You're a man of integrity. You try to do the right thing. There's no deceit in you." Nathanael says, "How do you know me?" And then Jesus makes that interesting comment, "I saw you under the fig tree before Philip called you." Now, what does that mean? It's a little bit of a puzzle to us, but more than likely, Nathanael under his fig tree was his place of devotion, his place of prayer. He was talking to God. Jesus knew that Nathanael had been in communion with God. And suddenly Nathanael realized, if you knew that, if you knew I was praying, you must have somehow been present. It's almost as if you, and then he realized it. He had come to see, and now he realized Jesus has knowledge no other human could possibly have. And so Nathanael says, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the Messiah. You are the King of Israel." He had come to faith when he came and saw Jesus. His initial skepticism was washed away. His initial doubts were erased. He came, he saw, he realized Jesus is the one, the Son of God, King of Israel. The Messiah has come. Yes, he's from Nazareth, and he is the Son of God. So here in John chapter 1, we meet the first four disciples of Jesus that John tells us about. Andrew, who went and found his brother Peter, and Philip, who went and found his friend Nathanael. And suddenly there are four who have come to realize that Jesus is the Messiah. You know, it's all about seeing Jesus. It's all about believing in him. It's all about following him. And when we follow him, we need to try to bring others with us as well. That's right. When Andrew followed Jesus, he brought Peter. When Philip followed Jesus, he brought Nathanael. Discipleship is all about looking to Jesus, trusting him, following him, and inviting others to follow him as well. Hope you join us tomorrow as we continue our 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of John.